a final secret that I've learned when it comes to intimacy with the Holy Spirit, and that is this. If you don't engage with Him, He will be silent. You know something I've noticed? I've traveled to churches for 24 years, and when the person driving picks me up, do you know if I go to a really good church where they've developed good workers, do you know the person who picks me up, do you know what they're trained? You know what one of the things they're trained to do? Not talk to me. Their leaders say, don't you talk to him unless he engages you. Are you following me? So I've gotten into cars before, and I do it on purpose. I start asking my driver about his family, about the church, how long's he been with it, because I realize these guys, they won't talk to me if I don't say anything. I can sit there and open up and do emails and all that, and they won't say a word to me all the way to the hotel, because that's the way they're trained. Now, I find the Holy Spirit is a little like that. He will not engage you unless it's an urgent matter of Jesus, like, hey, there's 3 men down there waiting on you, get down there. Or I want you to go join this chariot, okay? But if you don't engage Him, He remains quiet. He's waiting for you to engage Him. This is why there are some Christians, the Holy Spirit has been quiet to them. They go, why doesn't God talk to me? Are you engaging Him? Do you understand His personality? Are you realizing you are talking to the third person of the Godhead? Yes, they are one, but don't separate them. Don't confuse them. Are you with me? So talk to Him. You would be amazed at how He will respond if you talk to Him. Are you with me? And this is why many people go, God didn't talk to me. He hasn't talked to me in, weeks, years. Why? They don't engage Him. He's almost like that driver. He won't say something. Like, they'll look at me. They're trained. They'll say, okay, the service is at 7. We're going to pick you up at 6:25. They know they have to say that to me. But if I don't get engaged in conversation, we're not going to have it. So I, as a speaker, I have to make a real point to engage in the people that are picking me up. Lisa does the same thing, because I want to know why. I go to places and they go, oh, your wife is amazing, this and on and on. Oh, she talked to us. She made me feel like I was the most important person in the world. And, that's my wife. She will just make you feel so at home. Now, Jesus continues His instruction to the disciples at the Last Supper. And listen to what He says. Now here it really gets good. He said, oh, there is so much more I want to tell you, but you can't bear it now. Now listen, He's looking at these 11 guys. I want to tell you so much more, but you can't bear it. You cannot handle it right now. Now that gets my attention. That puts my radar sensors up right there. When the Spirit of truth comes, okay, He will guide you into all truth. So in other words, there are things I want to tell you, I can't, but when the Spirit of truth comes, He will. Did you just see that? Yeah. He will not be presenting His own ideas. He will be telling you what He has heard. He will be telling you about the future. He will bring me glory by revealing to you whatever He receives from me. All that the Father has is mine. This is what I mean when I say the Spirit will reveal to you whatever He receives from me. Remember, Jesus said it was best, everybody say best, that He goes away. The best thing for you guys is that I go away, right? Now, we see the continued benefit of this in these words I just read to you. There's much more Jesus wanted to reveal to them, but He couldn't do it. But then He said, but when the Spirit of truth comes. So, if you recall, after Jesus was raised from the dead, 10 of the disciples were in a room with the doors locked. And boom, He appears. Now remember, He's not a spirit, because He said, handle me, a spirit doesn't have flesh and bone like I have. But He walked through a wall. Now that's pretty cool. That means we're going to get to walk through walls when we get our glorified body. Okay? So the disciples are amazed. And so Thomas is not there. And they all come to Thomas a few days later and said, dude, we saw Him. I mean, He came in. We touched Him. Thomas went, you're nuts. What, have you gone back to drinking since He was crucified? You saw Him? I will not believe it unless I put my finger in His hands, I put my hand in my side, I won't believe it. So what does Jesus do? He pops in a few days later again. This time Thomas is there. He said, okay, Thomas, come here. Let's take care of this first. Put your hand in my side, put your fingers in the holes. See, I'm alive. And Thomas collapses and goes, my Lord and my God. Right? Now listen to what Jesus says. He said, Thomas, because you have seen me, You touched me. You handled me. You believe. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Now, I used to say, Jesus, that was kind of hard. I mean, the guy's already groveling on the floor. He's already going, please forgive me my unbelief, right? And then Jesus looks at him and makes a statement like that. I'm like, that's a little hard. The guy's repentant. And the Lord spoke to me and He said, I wasn't rebuking Thomas. I was making a statement of fact. Right. He said, what I was saying is, it's much more blessed to not see me because you can go to a deeper level of relationship. Yeah. Now let me explain what's happening here. There are 3 levels of relationship. You need to write this down. Number 1, it is the lowest level of a relationship. That is the physical. Everybody say the physical. Okay? This is the level of relationship, unfortunately, that many people get married off of. Right. She's got a great body. He's got a hot body. And they ignore everything else. I can ignore that. I know we don't get along. I know we don't talk very much together. But my goodness, I need this girl. And they get married. So they get married on the physical level, right? Unfortunately, the soul level wasn't developed. So what happens is after marriage, after the honeymoon basically wears off, she goes to her interests with her girlfriends, he goes to his interests with the sports, and they lose contact with each other. Because why? They got married based off the physical. Okay? Are you following me? All right? The next level up, I've already mentioned it, would be the soul or the personality of a person. Now, this is the level in which David and Jonathan went to. The soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David. That was a comment that the writer of Samuel wrote. David made this comment. I am distressed for you, my little brother Jonathan. You have been very pleasant to me. Your love to me was wonderful, surpassing the love of a woman. He was not talking about a perverted relationship with Jonathan. He was talking about their souls were so tightly knit. They were so connected in their souls that it went even beyond the connection of soul he had with his wives like Michal and Abigail. Well, actually it was just Michal then. Are you with me? Because Michal was the only wife he had then. Now, I want to say this. This is the level where hopefully marriages connect to.